السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program today. This is Naima Nanji, and welcome to our program with Sheikh Abdul Jalil from Washington. Please feel free to comment or send any questions to the number on your screen. Today's program will be based on the lessons from Karbala, and the lesson we're going to cover today is kindness. But before we go ahead with this topic, I would like to ask Sheikh, what is Karbala?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind. When we say the word Karbala, is an Arabic word. And that word is formed from two words, which is known as Karb and Bala. Karb means in English as sorrow or sadness, and then Bala means misfortune. However, these two words were merged together and became Karbala. So that's what the meaning of Karbala is. But today this name is the name of a place in Iraq, in a city in Iraq, where the tragedy of killing Imam Hussein took place. So that is what we call Karbala. The city where the tragedy of Imam Hussein took place is called Karbala.
Okay. And now we're going to discuss about kindness, which is taken as a lesson from Imam Hussein, from Karbala.
Right.
Yes.
Now,
We can emphasize on that.
Yes. In the beginning, in Islam, kindness has been emphasized so much that if you look at it, there are two kinds of kindness. There is one kindness that comes from Allah, and then there is one kindness that is coming from humans among ourselves. Now, when you look at it, God has emphasized so much about how much He is kind to us and how much He wants us to be kind to one another. Now, this kindness, you go to our Prophet, he is the first example of kindness. I have never seen any human being who is as kind as he was. Right? Now, how kind was he? You see, the Prophet ﷺ, he has done so much to care for people, to show the love to people. Right? Now, this has transferred to his family too. That Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they are also most kind after the Prophet. And you can see their kindness were mentioned in the Quran. For example, you look at the Quran chapter called Chapter of Human, Surah Al-Insan, where it talks about how much Ahlul Bayt were so kind to other people. That there's a verse in there where Quran is talking about where Imam Ali and his wife and his two sons fasted for 3 days. And at the time of breaking their fast, the first night, a man came and he was a beggar. And he was a destitute. They took their food and gave it to him. And they slept that night with nothing except water. The next day, they also fasted. And at the time of breaking their fast, another person came. And what happened? They took their food and they gave. The third day also, a prisoner of war also came and they did the same. And God was so impressed with their sacrifice of how much one can be that kind to that level. And God mentioned that in the Quran. Right? So that is how much kind they were at the Bayt alayhi salam. Now, this kindness is one level. But there is another kindness that we see from Imam Hussein, which is even more than average kindness. Which is what? See, sometimes I can be kind to people I don't know. I can be kind to people I know. But to be kind to people who are your enemies, that is on top of the level.
Yes.
That is unheard of,
Yes.
unseen, and that's what we see from Imam Hussein. And now let me take you to the lesson that we're talking about. When you go to the life of Imam Hussein, as he was on the way to Karbala, when he met Hur and his soldiers, by that time, they were very, very thirsty. They were very, very tired. They didn't have any water. Then they asked Imam Hussein, do you have any water? Imam Hussein said, yes. They said, can we have some water? Imam Hussein said, sure. So because by then, Imam Hussein and his companions, they have filled jars of water with them, for themselves, for their animals. But when they met their enemies and they asked them for water, Imam Hussein said, sure, give them.
Yes.
So they gave the water to the people and they wanted to give to their animals. Imam Hussein said, no, wait. You should not give the water to the animals in such way. Why? And he said, because animals were so thirsty, so you ought not to give them water at once, because if you do, they will die. Because there is something they call, or they call it water intoxication, which means when a human being or animal is that thirsty and you give them water at once, it might cause them to die. So what you do, they say you give them gradually. You give them peace and have them wait. And then as you give them again, you spread the water on their body to cool them off, and then you give them
again
until they can be satisfied. But if you give them at once, they will die. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he taught his enemies, he said, don't give those animals that water at once because they will die. Then he gave them slowly, and he sprayed the water on them so that they can stay alive. Some of those companions who came to fight him, they were thirsty that they couldn't drink. And Imam Hussein had the water in his hand for them to drink. And that is how he treated not people he didn't know, not people who are friends.
Yes.
No, these are his enemies.
Yeah.
You know, this is a kindness that when you look is kind of mind-blowing. You don't see that often. You know, sometimes we can be kind to our family.
Yes.
We be kind to our friends. Sometimes we can be kind to people and say, okay, he was kind to me, so let me be kind to him back. So it's like business, like trading. You do me, I do you. But in this case, you see the ultimate kindness from Imam Hussein. That these are the people, not only they never did any kindness to him, they are there to fight him. They are there to kill him. But yet, he still had the heart to be kind to them. That is one of the lessons we can learn from Karbala. That when you look in the life today, we see the hatred among the humanity. We see a lot of, not caring for one another. Now, when you go back to the life of Imam Hussein, he brings us back to the root of religion, which is Islam, to care for one another, be there for one another. Because when we say caring for one another, it doesn't have to be food, water, money. Sometimes you can be there for someone just by listening to them.
Yes, it's true.
Sometimes somebody is going through a hard time. They just need someone to listen to their problem, what they're going through. That's all. And you giving them the ear to hear their problem is an act of kindness. And that itself is a big thing in Islam. Not only that, sometimes all you need is a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah.
Somebody's having a hard time, bad day. They just need somebody to put a smile on their face. Now, by you putting a smile on their face, you change their whole day, their whole life. That is true. Another way of kindness is that sometimes somebody just needs somebody to talk to them. Give them some word of wisdom. Just try to guide them in life what they need to do. Just they need somebody to help them. All of this is it's an act of kindness. That in the life of Imam Hussein, we see all of this is there that we need to apply. Right? But when you ask me, I will say this. Being kind has to come through different levels. What do I mean by that is, they said charity begins at home. I'm a family man. I have a wife. I have children. I have to start my kindness from my home. I'm a husband. I have to be kind to my wife. I have to be nice to my wife. Because sometimes you see some people, they're kind outside, but they are not kind in the home. They will be smiling at work. They're good and with the people on the street. But when they come home, it's like prison. The wife is not comfortable. The children are scared. That's not an act of kindness. I have to start from there, where my wife is feeling comfortable with me. I'm kind to my wife. I'm kind to my children, where they feel very, very open with me. That is level one. Then I go to another level, which is my parents. Being kind to them, being there for them, doing what they need in your life as being your parents. That is another set of kindness. Now, then there is a kindness which is your neighbors. All right? Because sometimes, unfortunately, we live in a life of today where we don't care for one another. I don't even know my neighbor. I don't know the struggle of my neighbor. I don't know what my neighbor is going through. And Islam is teaching us that no, you cannot be counted as a Muslim if you go to bed and your neighbor is hungry. It's just a part of act of kindness to know my neighbor and to know his situation and know what he needs. And if I can help, to help them. Right? So after I finish with my wife and children, my mom, my siblings, then I go to my neighbors. See what they need. What can I do for them? That is also an act of kindness. Because even when you go to the hadith of the Prophet, it is mentioned that the Prophet, this hadith from Imam Ali, he said, I heard the Prophet emphasizing of taking care of our neighbors to the point I thought the Prophet will make neighbors to inherit when we die.
Wow.
Yes, that's how much the Prophet was about neighbor. Concern about your neighbor. Care for your neighbor. Be there for your neighbor. All right? That is how much the Prophet emphasized. Now you come to the will of Imam Ali that he mentioned in Najil Balagha. Part of that will, he says, be kind to your neighbors. And when he said neighbors, he didn't mention that they have to be Muslim. He didn't mention you have to be brothers. He didn't mention that they have to be from the same country. No. He said neighbors. So if I'm a Muslim today and my neighbor is Christian, I still have the responsibility of being kind to them. If I am a Hindu and my neighbor is a Jew, I still have the responsibility of being kind to them. So religion doesn't matter. Country doesn't matter. What matters is humanity. He is human being. I need to be careful for them. Right? Now, if I want to take it to another level, Islam doesn't talk about kindness among humans. It even goes being kind to animals. We have narrations in Islam by our Prophet that a woman end up going to heaven not because of religion, not because she was following the Prophet, it's because she was kind to a cat. Just a cat. We will say just a cat, but it's not a just because it's alive. Right? So the Prophet told us this woman, she was concerned about this animal, which animal was very thirsty, very, very looking for water, and this woman took care of this cat. Gave the cat water, the cat survived. After the Prophet heard, he said, this woman is given heaven just for being caring for the animal. We have another narration says, a man went to hellfire because did not take care of animal. He had an animal in the house, locked that animal up, didn't give the animal food or water, didn't let the animal out. The animal suffered and died of thirst and hunger. And when that person dies, Allah put them in the hellfire. See? So the act of kindness is so big in Islam that it's not about humans, animals. I can take it even further to that, that even we have in Islam being kind to the plants. These plants,
Yes.
we have in narrations, you are not supposed to cut a plant unless you have a need for it. That is how much kindness. So when we talk about kindness in Islam, it's a broad and it's very important that Islam has emphasized on all levels of lives.
MashaAllah. Okay, Sheikh, we'll just take a short commercial break and be back in 2 minutes.
Hussein! Abasi kamwahidi majini taleta, usilie mwanangu kiu kitakwisha. Abasi kamwahidi majini taleta, usilie mwanangu kiu kitakwisha. Labaika ya Hussein, labaika ya Hussein, labaika ya Hussein. Hussein! لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين Abasi wapi maji kiu kimezidi, mbona ujarode ndogo yangu mwema. Abasi wapi maji kiu kimezidi, mbona ujarode ndogo yangu mwema. Labaika ya Hussein, 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 labaika ya Abasi kashawawa mikono kukatwa, maji yafike vipi kwa mwana Sukena. Abasi kashawawa mikono kukatwa, maji yafike vipi kwa mwana Sukena. Labaika ya Hussein, labaika ya Hussein, labaika ya Hussein.
Welcome back to our program. Today we're actually learning from the lessons of Karbala, and the lesson we just covered a while ago was kindness, and we're going to continue with that with Sheikh Abdul Jalil from Washington. Yes, Sheikh, shall we continue?
Yes.
Yes.
As we were talking before, we came back about the act of kindness in Islam. And I mentioned that in Islam, we are required to be kind to even plants. One thing we have to understand, that even the plants, they might not be as human, but they have feelings too. You know, the study was made in Japan regarding the plants. They put two plants in two different rooms. And one plant, one man will come and say good things about that plant. What a nice plant. Good looking plant. Wow, you're amazing. You're good. That's one plant. Then another plant, they say, oh, you're ugly looking. You're not nice. What kind of plant is this? Every day. After some time, the plant that was always getting the bad comment died. Could not survive. But the plant that was getting good comment was beautiful.
Yeah, it was flourishing.
That's right. So even plants, we think that, oh, they don't need our kindness, right? But these are Japanese who have nothing to do with religion. But just to try to see that how our words and our action can affect the plant, this is the result they came with. And that is why you see, even in Islam, we are taught that when we go to forest, we are not allowed to abuse plant. Well, there is one narration of the Prophet when he was saying to his companions, when he was sending them to the war, he said, do not cut the plant. Do not abuse any tree unless it is necessary, such as it's on your way and you can't get through without it. That's one. Or you needed that tree for something. That's fine. But other than that, he said you're not allowed to cut the plant. That is to tell us how Islam is concerned about even the plants. Why? So in Islam, we are required to be kind to the plants, to be kind to animals. You see, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and even the Quran, when you go to Surah Al-Kahf, the chapter of cave, right? It talks about the youth, and then it talks about part of the group was a dog, which was with them, right? But Quran specifically mentioned the dog, and even talk not only about the dog, even the way the dog was sleeping. It says, Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, it says, وَكَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ ذِرَائِهِ بِالْوَصِيدِ. It says the dog was laying, stretch his leg as if it is alive. Right? So you see, Quran tells us how amazing these animals are. Right? Not only that, you go to the Quran talks about such animals which are like, for example, Sulaiman has a bird which is hoopoe, and he was serving Sulaiman. And you go to the Quran, you see some chapters were named after animals in the Quran. Right? Title like the chapter of cow, the chapter of spider, the chapter of the bee, the chapter of elephant, the chapter, all of these animals. Yes. Right? So this tells us a message from the Quran that those individuals, they matter to God and they should matter to us. Yes. Because if they matter to God, it should matter to us. Right? Yes. It doesn't matter. Even ants. Let me share with you a story about the time of Sulaiman. You know, it is mentioned that Prophet Solomon, during his time, there was dried out. Months passed by, there was no rain. People went to King Solomon and they asked him, can you please pray to God? Because in Islam, we have 2 rak'ah prayers called Salat al-Istisqa, which is 2 rak'ah prayer you pray to ask God for rain. Yes. So they went to Solomon and they asked him to come and lead them for that prayer. First, Prophet Sulaiman told them, no, you go do it. God will listen to you. They went and did, nothing happened. So they came back in Solomon. They said, please, can you help us? We did, nothing happened. So Sulaiman said, okay, I'll do it. He put up a time and a date that he will go and lead them for that prayer. The date came, thousands and people came to go and pray. As they were walking, Sulaiman stopped and he was listening to one of the animals. Few minutes later, he made a U-turn. He said, let's go home. They said, why? We're here for Salah. We haven't even started. Yes. He said, don't worry. It's done. They said, what happened? He said, as I stopped, I heard a small ant under this mountain was praying to God. And when the ant says, oh God, you know we are your smallest creatures. And we cannot survive without a water. And it has been months we haven't got any rain. Ya Allah, for the sake of the good ones of us, please send us rain. And God said, the angel says, Ameen. And Allah said, go ahead and give them the rain. Because of the ant. Yeah. So Sulaiman told the people, and they were like, shocked. Here we will say, this ant is nothing. We can step on them, crush them, spray on them. We think they don't have any use, right? Now the story tells us that because of the ant, Allah took care of the humans. Yes. In that story. So that is one of the reasons why we need to be We need to be caring for even the animals. We need to be caring for human beings. Right? So that is why Islam emphasized on different levels of caring. Now, going back to caring for people, in this life as we live, there is something we call golden word, right? And golden word means what? When you throw a ball at wall, what happened to it comes back to you. Okay, this is a message.
Yes.
And that message is what? When you become kind to others, kindness come back to you.
Come back to you. Yeah.
If you started to be unkind to others, what do you expect? That's right. So the bottom line why Islam emphasizes on kindness is not because of anything. Even if it's not because of God, just for the sake of your own self. Right? Be kind to others. Because whatever you plant is what is going to sow. If I plant the seed of kindness, that is what is going to be happening in my life.
Yes.
If I plant the seed of disrespect, hate, and disrespect and all, that's what's going to happen. Right? So that is why Islam always emphasizes to us that be kind, be nice, do good. Because if nothing, at least it's going to come back to you. If not because of it, if it doesn't come back to you, it might come back to your children.
Yes.
And the same thing, if you do evil, if it doesn't come back to you, it's going to come back to your children. Because there is a story that there was a man at the time of the Prophet. This woman, she did not like the Prophet. And what happened? And some narration said it was another person. But whatever the case is, she did not like a man in her life. So what happened? One day she made a food and she put a poison in that food to kill that man. Good. The man took the food. For whatever reason, he didn't eat the food. As he was carrying the food that the woman gave him, and he was walking, he met two young men. And they were very, very hungry. Then they asked this man, do you have any food? We haven't eaten for days. The man said, yes, I have a food that I was given. So here you are, you can have it. So he gave it to them. These poor young men, they ate the food, they kept walking. As they walking, they started feeling pains. They started complaining their stomach, and they finally died because of the poison. Now, come to find out, those two children were that woman's children.
Oh my God.
Yes. See how God works in His way that we cannot even imagine. Sometimes I will think I'm trying to hurt someone, but guess what? Maybe I'm hurting myself. Right? And this example is so much in the history. So the lady, she found out she was hurting herself when she was thinking she wants to kill someone. Now she ended up hurting herself. Right? Now the same thing happened with the time of the Prophet too. Right? Abu Lahab one time, he dug a big hole and he invited the Prophet. And his mind, he wants the Prophet to come and fall in that hole. He covered it so that the Prophet didn't see it.
Wow.
Now the Prophet was coming and he has no clue that something is there.
Yes.
As he was approaching, Allah sent Jibreel to tell the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, watch out. There is a hole here. So turn back. The Prophet, and this happened when Abu Lahab was sitting in the big open place and he saw the Prophet was coming and the hole is in the middle. The Prophet was coming. As the Prophet was stopped by Jibreel and the Prophet turned to leave, Abu Lahab stood up to call the Prophet to come, and he forgot that he had a hole there. As he was running to call Muhammad, he ended up falling in the hole. Then he started saying, people, help me to come out. He asked people, the more they try to get him out, Allah to show him, then the more the hole goes deeper and deeper. He himself said, the only man who can get me out of this is Muhammad. So go call him. Now look at the act of kindness. That's we speak. Normally we will say, oh, you wanted to hurt me, God hurt you, good luck, I'm not coming. Yes. You stay there forever. That's what we say. Yes. All right? They say, yes, because God loved me and He saved me. Now you ask, no, Rasulullah, when they called him, he came. And he held his hand and he brought him out. out of the kindness, even though this was his enemy. And he was plotting to hurt Rasulullah. And at the end, he ended up hurting himself. Right? So these examples are so many in Islamic history, that Islam teaches that we should be always try to be kind with others. If not, we should even take it to the further, to another level, which is be kind to your enemies. All right?
Yes.
And I mentioned the one beautiful saying from the Prophet telling Imam Ali, where he said to him, 3 things if you are able to do, he said, even if you are not a prophet, but you have the qualities of the prophet. Number 1, he says, Silman qata'ak, which means keep the tie with those who cut the ties with you.
Yes.
Like in the family, sometimes I have a brother, a sister, a cousin, right? He doesn't want to do anything with me. He's mad at me because something happened in the family. He doesn't want to see me. The Prophet says, as much as they try to cut the tie, you try to keep the tie. Right? Because that tie is kept by Allah.
Yes.
Because we have 2 kinds of people in our lives. Certain people, we put them in our life. Like a friend, like a neighbor, like a co-worker. We find them. And then there are people, no, Allah put them in your life. Like a brother, like a sister, like a mother. These are individuals. I didn't make decision for them to be my brother. I did not make decision for them to be my sister. It's Allah who made that. So whatever Allah make, there is always a wisdom behind it. So we should keep that. That is one. Then he said, the act of number 2, he says, وَأْطِ مَنْ حَرَمَكَ, give to he who refused to give you. Sometimes in life, people go through hardship, hard time. You turn to someone, I need help. And then they say, no, I can't. No, I don't have it. For whatever reason, right? They turn you down.
Yeah.
Now, time goes, things change. Now, they are in need of you, which you were in their position yesterday, and they didn't give you. Now, what would you do? Now, I can say, no, I can't help you, because last time I came and you refused me. I can do that, right? But the act of kindness says, no. Why? They say, don't be like him. Why? Because this is a simple mathematics. See, if you pass by a dog and the dog bark at you, you don't bark back.
Yes.
Why? Because that's a dog.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you pass by to show the dog that, no, I'm a human being. I'm different. I don't bark like you do.
Yes.
That's the act of kindness. Now, when somebody was mean, bad, Islam says you show the good side of you.
Yes.
That when they come, you be kind to them. Teach them the good side of you. That's what the hadith says. It says, وَأَطِ مَنْ حَرَمَكَ, give to who refused to give you. Right? And then the third one, he says, وَأْفُ عَنْ مَنْ ظَلَمَكَ, forgive he who wrongs you. Somebody did injustice to you, hurt your feelings,
Yes.
did injustice to you. You know this is my right, but it was taken away from you. And then things change. Now I am in the position where I can revenge. I can do it back worse than what he did to me. Now what can I do? Should I revenge? Yes, you can. Or can I say, I forgive you? I forgive you. So that is the kind of the actions that Islam is teaching us. All right. Now imagine if humanity will live on these 3 values. Trust me, we will live a heaven life in this world. If we all human beings to live that kind of life, I'm caring for my brother, I'm caring for humanity, I care for humans, I care for animals, I care for plants. Imagine what kind of life we'll live.
Yeah, mashallah.
That life will be like a heaven on the earth.
On the earth, yeah.
Where the life is all about love, kindness, caring, compassion. That life is completely different life.
Yes.
Right? Because life is not about, money, power, position. No, there is more to it. The simple thing is caring for one another, being there for one another. That is something that is very, very important. And that's what we learned from the Karbala, from Imam Hussein, that even though these people came to hurt him, they came to kill him, but he still showed them the act of kindness. And that is the lesson from Karbala.
MashaAllah. That was like a very good topic. And now, Sheikh, we're going to wind up for today from here, and we're going to continue tomorrow, same from the lessons of Karbala, and we're going to pick up a different lesson tomorrow. Thank you so much.
السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.